are back with more of My Southern Home, and I'm with Jennifer Joel Smith with Keller Williams and Jeff Ratanapool with Stockton Mortgage. And I'm excited to talk about purchasing second homes, Jennifer, because there's a lot of people that are thinking about doing that right now.
Yes, we've done it ourselves. It's exciting. We have a couple properties in different states, and we love it. It's been a great experience, a different experience, and I think COVID kind of opened our minds to owning properties that we would maybe like to go to for long-term or short-term, and just different goals. And we found ourselves finding a couple properties that we intend to keep long-term versus other ones that might be short-term, and then there's different ways to go about doing that.
And Jeff, it's really important for that investor to know those goals before they visit you, because that helps you from an investment perspective.
Well, in as far as the financing goes, there's several things that are different about the second investment property versus our primary. Number one, they're going to expect to put more money down. So usually on investment property, there's going to be a minimum down payment of 20% required. On a second home, they can get in for 10%, but they'll still have PMI. Now, the other big change is that the interest rate is going to be a little higher than a primary residence. On an investment property, it's somewhere between the 3/4 to 1 point higher, and on a second home, it's about 1/4 to 3/8, just generally speaking. But as long as they qualify for that, they can get a 30-year fixed loan, which you really can't get at the portfolio lenders. Most banks will only go 15 years and lock your money in for 3 to 5. So it's a viable option to keep the payment low so that they can either afford that payment if they're going to use it as a second home, or they can make money off the rent if they end up using it as investment property.
And Jennifer, since the mortgage rates are different than buying the home that you plan on living in, the comps of that area is really important, and that's kind of where you come in to really guide them on the perfect property.
Yes, I mean the money's different, and then that's why we always start with Jeff, so we know what we're looking at on the money side. So it's very hard for me to work backwards off of numbers if I don't know what I'm working with. So I don't know what they're spending and then what the goals are of the person. It really all kind of comes together for me to figure out what the perfect property is going to be, and then make sure the numbers work out perfectly.
Well, and a lot of people don't realize, if they haven't worked with investors before and they haven't worked with a realtor before, they don't know all the access to information that you have to help them.
Yes, we have a flood of access to a bunch of information statewide, I mean local, national, statewide. I have investors that are out of different states, Washington to Florida, New Jersey. I mean, we've had a slew of investors that are actually investing in Louisville, which is very exciting because people are seeing the strength of the Louisville market. I worked with someone this morning that's going to do that. So there's a lot of information that I have access to, and a lot of connections that we have just naturally from working through the process with investors for years.
Jeff, one of the things that I love so much about Stockton Mortgage is that you're a mortgage company. You have a variety of financial opportunities for people.
Yes, so we're what's called an independent mortgage bank. So we lend our own money, we underwrite it ourselves, and we have the option of servicing the money, but we still sell to the secondary market. So that means any option that's available through Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and for owner-occupied, for VA, USDA, FHA, we're able to have access to those funds. And that's why the secondary market was developed, to provide affordable housing mortgage opportunities for all people. That way, whether they're buying an investment property or their primary residence, we could meet those needs. And so what our loan officers are trained to do is we find out what the goals are of the borrower, what they're capable of doing, what they can repay and feel comfortable in doing so, and then we match them up. And I think that it might be the difference. So if you come in to a bank maybe, and not to talk badly about them, but maybe this is all they have. So one size has to fit all. But with the flexibility that Stockton has, we're able to say, okay, well, these are your needs. Here's the different suite of products that we have. Which one do you think would be best for you? And in my career, I've always never told the person what I thought they should do. I always gave them all the information and then asked, okay, which one do you like? And if they asked questions, we went back and forth, then we were able to come to a mutual agreement. And then that way they felt satisfied at the end that they had a big role in deciding what mortgage they were going to take.
And Jeff, one of the things that Jennifer was talking about is she helps investors in various different states, and you can do that as well.
Yeah, the company is licensed in 21 states, which means that Stockton is able to lend, and we're primarily through the South, but we're in Kentucky, Indiana, Tennessee, Ohio, Florida, South Carolina, Mississippi, Alabama, New Mexico. And so if a person is living here in Kentucky and wants to go buy a home in Florida, we can take care of those needs for them. We pre-approve them just like we would on their primary residence. So they would make an application to us. We'd run their credit, we'd run their approval, and be able to quote the terms. And they could take our approval letter, go down to that state, get under a contract, and we could close that in 30 to 40 days. In fact, in 2020 with the pandemic, I've been in the business for 25 years, and 2020 was my biggest year of origination in Florida. It was the most number of loans I've ever done in that state throughout my career.
Well, one of the things that I love about having you guys together on this show is I believe that knowledge is power, and you need both sides of this coin to get the investment that you're looking for.
Yes, I think it's great to where, I mean, I own myself multiple properties, and then I have one in Florida actually too. I bought it a couple of years ago. But then when people are asking me questions, or asking someone that actually has investment properties, has Airbnbs, has properties across state lines, to where when they're asking me questions, I can give them genuine answers based off my own experiences, which I think for the most part people just absolutely love, that I can give them an honest assessment, honest feedback on how I'm even handling it myself.
All right, well, thank you guys so much. I really appreciated being here today.
Thanks for having us back. We enjoyed it.
We'll be back with more My Southern Home in just a moment.